thousands, I would say hundreds of thousands of people who get refused around the world. They do not even know about it.
Good day. I'm good. How about yourself?
Okay, Iman, what is a judicial review?
That's a very good question, Morteza. So, judicial review is a process by which the federal court oversees and reviews a decision that's made by IRCC. So, IRCC is an administrative body that they make a decision. Judicial review is the federal court that overviews it to see if it's a right decision and if it meets the requirements of the law.
Iman, let's talk about the steps you take as a lawyer for someone who wants to do a judicial review.
Okay, so the first thing is to file their application within the allowed timeline to make sure they don't miss their delay.
Which is 15 days if you're inside, 60 days if you're outside.
Correct.
Okay.
If you're a few days out of these delays, there are possibilities to get your file through, but don't wait for it. Act as quickly as you can. Once I receive your application and I submit it to the federal court, I analyze your file. I have to make sure to see, do I have a good chance of success or not? If I have a good chance of success, then I provide what's called a memorandum of argumentation, where we explain very clearly why we believe that this decision is wrong and is unreasonable. Once that happens, currently we have 75 days from the reception of the notes on the file to file that application, that memorandum. Once that happens, Justice Canada, who represents IRCC, has 30 days to provide their response. Once they've provided their response to us, we have another 10 days to provide another response to their response if we want. At that point, all the argumentations are done. The file goes in the hands of the judge. There's one judge that first evaluates to see whether or not leave should be granted. What is leave? Leave means that you will have your day in court. So a judge will receive the argumentation and will see whether or not leave is granted. That judge is not going to be deciding your file in the end. He's just going to look at it and say, hey, it looks like there's an issue here. I think it should go to hearing. Yeah, it should go to hearing. I feel as a judge that there's elements of the law that have been violated by IRCC, so let's go hear it out.
Okay.
And once that happens and leave is granted, then a court date is issued.
Okay.
And then we prepare and we go to court. Very often, settlements arrive up until the very last week of court. Justice Canada currently is very overwhelmed and overwhelmed.
What is a settlement?
Okay, that's a good question. So what are you trying to get out of your judicial review? You want somebody to come and say,
visa.
Of course you want your visa, yeah. First you have to show that, hey, whoever decided on my file made a mistake, so that wasn't the right decision. To get that, there's two possible ways. Either when you file the judicial review, Justice Canada lawyer sees, yeah, this really doesn't make sense. I'm not going to, as an individual, I'm not going to spend 10 hours of my life writing arguments that don't make sense. So I will talk with my client, who's IRCC, and I will suggest that they settle the case with you. Settling the case with you means that IRCC agrees that the decision on your file was flawed, and they have decided that they will cancel that refusal and they will reanalyze your file based on with a new officer.
So your file, after you get the settlement, goes back to the government of Canada, to Immigration Refugee Canada, IRCC, and then the second officer will go and take a look.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It'll go back to the embassy. It'll take around 3 to 4 months for them to reopen your file.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you get a letter saying, hey, your file, based on your judicial review application, your case has been reopened. Please provide updates within the next 30 days so we can analyze your file. And that's where you have to re-update your file. You have to re-show all the elements that were in your file.
Okay, Iman. So after the client is refused, which we have like thousands of clients refused, we have worked on hundreds of clients together. They have 3 options: resubmitting, reconsideration, and going for judicial review. So you're the lawyer. I think you like the third one. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. But I would love to know your insight on which one you want to go for.
Okay. So look, before I get to my answer, the goal of this is for you to get your visa.
Absolutely.
That is the goal.
Yeah.
Now, my personal approach is that every tool that you have, you should utilize it. Meaning that you're refused, you know the reasons of your refusals because you have the officer's decision notes, the ODNs. The next day you submit a request for reconsideration. The problem with reconsideration is you don't know if you're going to get an answer. and you don't know what your answer is going to be. Sometimes, and you don't know when you're going to get an answer if you get an answer.
Exactly.
So this is like a shot in the dark. You don't hold your breath on that. At the same time, you submit a judicial review application because that has a legal procedure and it will go through, and then you'll get to plead your arguments on that. These two type of requests are good, but they're not going to get your visa in a short span of time. When I explained to you the process of the court is you go to judicial review, you get a settlement, the case is reopened 4 or 5 months later, they update your file, and then they reanalyze your file. That's a long process. If your goal is to get your visa quickly, you attack at the same time a judicial review and a resubmission, and you wait to see which one you're going to get an answer on quickly.
I've even seen some consultants, or yourself, I seen sometimes, you attack from every other corner. So you send a reconsideration, you send a new application, you go for judicial review. So I think that's not
what you have to do. That's absolutely what it's unfortunate because IRCC is overwhelmed and this doesn't help the issue, but in order to get your rights and the rights of your clients defended, this is what you have to do.
So Iman, this judicial review thing is very expensive. Not everyone knows about it. Even those who do, they don't want to risk that money. I've seen lawyers charging $5,000-$6,000. So what is the money that you are charging? I know the answer, but I want you to share it here.
Well, that's a very good question, Morteza John. You know, you and I have both tried to make this judicial review more accessible to the market. Charging someone who applied for a tourist visa $3,000 to go to judicial review, I don't know how practical that is. So our goal is to provide universal access to judicial review. Bringing the cost down as much as possible while rendering a above average service.
Quality service.
And quality service. So our fees generally hover between $1,500 and $2,000.
That's very reasonable.
Yeah, depending on the case. Depending on the case, yes. So for temporary residency applications, we usually don't have to go any higher than that.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. That's a great help. I think for thousands, I would say hundreds of thousands of people who get refused around the world, they do not even know about it. And if they do, it's expensive, right? So that's great that we have the same mission to make the judicial review accessible for everyone and also doable in terms of the price. Okay, Iman, so after the judicial review, would you get your visa for sure?
Oh, not for sure.
Okay.
What happens is after judicial review, when you get a settlement or when the judge issues a decision in your favor, the whole file goes back to the decision maker and he's going to reanalyze the file. Now, I would say backtrack 3, 4, 5 years ago when you would get a settlement, 95% acceptation after that.
Exactly.
Now, I would say we're looking at a 70% refusal rate on the second time. So approximately 30% of files are getting accepted even after we win in court. I have seen cases where I've gone back and forth 4, 5, 6 times for a client in the federal court before they get there.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
So if you're going to charge someone $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for each time, it quickly becomes unsustainable for the client. That might have to go back 2, 3, 4 times to visit you.
Absolutely. That's going to be really hard. Iman, someone who is refused is already very disappointed. If they want to go for a judicial review, hire a lawyer like yourself, they want to know how much chance they will have after the judicial review. That's
actually number one preoccupation of all clients. They want to know, if I'm going to spend all this time and wait all this time, what's my chances? Now, that's a question that's a little difficult to answer. I'd like to respond to it in a different way. I would say it depends where your file came from and who did your file. You know, we've done hundreds of applications together. From a case that comes from your office, usually we're above 95% settlement rate, or we win in court. There's other practitioners, when files arrive to me, I know there's less than 5% chance of success because of the quality, the way the file was built.
The first file which was submitted to IRCC.
Absolutely, because that's the battlefield that we can fight upon. And if that battlefield is not correct and the application was not submitted properly, then I as a lawyer cannot do anything. If you're missing one of the main requirements of an application, like a bank account, don't think your lawyer is going to be able to settle that for you.
So your range was from 5% to 95%. Is that it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was? Iman, all of our clients ask this question. every minute. Maybe they ask each client, I think they ask it for 20 to 30 times. Do you know the question?
How long? When am I gonna get an answer?
How much does it take to go through the judicial review?
Yeah, you know, we had a conversation once and we talked about the fact that clients are mostly already a little upset by the processing delays of Canada, which has become quite large. Unfortunately, the process of federal court is a lengthy one, which could be 2 to 3 times the time it takes for you to apply for a visa, a regular visa.
Okay.
So from submission to a settlement, you're looking at anywhere between 3 to 6 months. If there's no settlement and it has to go to the judge to decide, you're looking at another 6 to 9 months on top of that.
Okay.
So these are the delays for your file to be either settled or accepted by the judge or dismissed.
Decided,
After that happens, you're looking at 2 to 3 months for the embassy to reopen your file, receive updates. Once you've submitted the updates, then it's the average processing time of your application. So if you have a tourist visa and you're from Iran, then you have to look and see what the processing delays are for Iranian applicants for tourist visas.
So average would be 1 year, I think.
It could be a very lengthy process.
Not too long, huh?
Listen, if I mean, look, you applied for a visa. If you've gotten refused for your visa and you want to come, you do have to fight for it, and it could take up to 6 months, 7 months, 8 months to a year for you to obtain it.
Absolutely. Awesome.